All right, cool. So hello everyone, thanks so much for tuning in to this Course Report Q&A. My name is Liz Eggleston. I work with Course Report, which is a resource for finding the coding bootcamp that's right for you. So if you haven't looked at Course Report yet, of course, use our directory, find schools that fit your needs, check out our blog. We've got interviews with students, instructors, founders with bootcamps all across the world. There are application tips, other resources. We also just released our most recent research about the coding bootcamp industry, which is really interesting if you want to nerd out over the growth of bootcamps over the last year. So today we are joined by Drew, tell me how to pronounce your last name.
It's Derek Fogge.
Derek Fogge and Cynthia Kellogg. So Derek is the front-end development career path program manager with Thinkful, and Cynthia is actually a student in the course right now. So I think at this point, most Course Report readers and users know about Thinkful, which is an online mentored boot camp. But Thinkful is always improving on their product. They're always launching new tracks, and their most recent course is this career path course, which is a 6-month longer curriculum that aims to get students jobs. So we're really excited to talk with Derek and with Cynthia about their experience starting and mentoring with the program and also being a student in the program. So one other reminder is that we have a really great exclusive scholarship for everyone who's tuning in right now. So if you use Course Report, the promo code Course Report in the referral section of your Thinkful application, you'll get $50 off your first month of Thinkful, which is fantastic. So, okay, so I just want to start by welcoming both of you. Derek, why don't you start and tell us what sort of brought you to Thinkful and what your background is as a developer.
Okay, so I was actually one of Thinkful's first students. I think I was within the first 10 students. I was working in advertising for like 7 years as a designer at a traditional ad agency. Nobody wanted to deal with web stuff, so we outsourced everything. We were losing tons of money on most of those projects, and I knew a little HTML, a little CSS, so I kind of struggled through the first few years and self-taught and hit walls and had no one to turn to. I didn't know any other developers, so about 5 years into doing that and struggling with that, I saw a post on Hacker News for Thinkful, and I was like, oh, that's interesting, one-on-one mentorship. So I signed up and did the course, did the basic front-end intro to front-end course. A couple months later, I left my job in advertising and started freelancing. And 9 months of freelancing, I landed my first job as a full-time web developer at an agency called Mint Digital. And I also, around the same time, started mentoring at Thinkful, which I really, really enjoyed. And a few months into that, they offered me to start writing courses, and I wrote a few courses. I wrote the design course, the UX course, contributed to a few other courses. And at some point, I asked if there was any open spots there, and they said they could make one for me. So I became a mentor in residence at Thinkful about 9 months ago now. And since then, I was leading course development, and now I started the career path course.
Awesome. You're sort of a classic Thinkful success story.
Yeah, we have quite a few former students as employees here. So.
Do you still as a mentor, do you still get to work on like development projects as well?
Oh yeah, so I have side projects. I like to pick up freelance here and there. I try to keep it, to the weekends if possible. So nothing too crazy anymore. But yeah, I definitely still write code. And I'm always learning new stuff. So.
Cool. Cynthia, do you want to just give a quick intro for yourself as well?
Sure, yes. I am a Thinkful student in the Career Path course, and I was, for the last 3 to 4 years, I have been the non-technical co-founder of a consumer-based gift-giving app. And I kind of, about a year ago, I found myself without any technical co-founders because they both left for various reasons. And I kind of was at this juncture of, and that's something like in the startup world you hear a lot, is you have these people who don't have any technical experience and they need to hire technical help. Mm-hmm. And so any kind of networking event, probably the greatest need are technical co-founders. And so I myself was at this junction for the first time, and I thought, okay, I can shut everything down, which was not really anything I wanted to do. I can hire somebody, go out and find somebody who would kind of work for free, right? Because I didn't have a ton of money to pay for to hire someone. Or I could just learn how to code myself, and I thought that was a really great option. So I could, so that's what I did. So I signed up at Thinkful and just started. I started at the front end web development course because the career path course was just, I think it was still being planned out. So I started in that first, they call it the Feud course, and then partway through that they opened up the career path course. So I joined in that.
Cool. Had you tried other sort of like self-guided teaching before you started at Thinkful?
Yes, I played around with Code Academy a little bit, and yeah, so I had.
Cool.
I had just that though. Like my only kind of technical experience was in managing to like a designer and a back-end developer. So I did dabble with a little Code Academy just to understand kind of like what I was asking them.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. You knew the lingo, but trying to really understand what was going on.
Yeah. Oh, I knew like just enough to like be dangerous, they say, right? Like not really understand. I mean, I could like talk to them, but not. I didn't have like this huge picture of always what I was asking, but I did my best. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so Derek, Cynthia said that when she started with the front end course. The career path course didn't exist yet. Can you tell us when y'all sort of started working on the career path course and what has gone into actually creating and designing that course?
Sure. So about January of this year, we started. It's been about 2 years Thinkful have existed. So we had a lot of data points on our students. We really had a good understanding of our students, their goals. We noticed that there was a large percentage of our students wanted to make a career transition, not just level up as a programmer. So we also realized that many of them were willing to make a larger time commitment than our previous courses had required, which was 10 to 15 hours. So started kind of thinking about like my own personal journey as a developer and what it really took for me to feel kind of confident in my skills to land a job as a full-time front-end developer. And just the one course wasn't quite enough for me. It is for some students, but I still wasn't totally confident, like just showing my code to a technical hiring person. So the 9 months of freelance is what got me to that point. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of thinking about this. We were talking about this. What if we could make a course that encompassed all of that experience plus our curriculum? So we pretty much put all that together, and we wanted to sort of formalize that experience. And,
yeah.
Yeah.
What's different between the front-end development course and the front-end career path course, like on paper? Is it longer, more hours each week?
So yeah,
it's committing to.
So the biggest difference is the length. It's a 6-month course. Some people have gone through portions of it faster than we had expected, but they gave a larger time commitment than so we require 20 hours to even sign up for the course, 20 hours a week.
Okay.
And what it entails is you get 3 mentor sessions a week, 1-hour sessions instead of our usual 45-minute sessions. It starts with the intro to front-end course. Mm-hmm. Then it goes into an intermediate front-end course, which enforces best practices and just like modern standards of web development. And then an Angular course. But that is becoming very optional as things progress, because some students want to learn, Backbone, some students want to learn Ember. So we're trying to customize the course around the student's goal and not tie it to any particular technology, as long as it's still front end. But we have some students who are learning Node too, so that's kind of becoming interesting.
Yeah.
Getting full stack at that point. But then after that, they go and create custom projects, and that's where my freelance experience comes in. So after all that freelance experience, I had a lot of experience with different code bases and projects outside of my usual like small business freelance sites and agency kind of sites I was building. So I wanted to sort of let the students decide what they want to work on and what they feel passionate about and create custom one-off projects. So that's sort of the final step before they go into career services, where they're matched with a technical recruiter or a hiring manager who preps them with mock interviews and reviews their portfolio and their GitHub account, and just make sure they're putting their best foot forward when they start actually interviewing.
Yeah. Do most of the students who are coming through it know like exactly what they want to do when they graduate, or are the mentors sort of like career counseling also as they go through? Or
So some students do come in with a goal. It's usually a short-term goal of I just want to get a job as a web developer. And that usually gets kind of honed as they go through the course, talking to their mentor, going to office hours and dealing with other mentors' experiences and seeing what the possibilities really are. So yeah, it does tend to change as things progress. But some students just have a goal right from the start and stick to it.
Cool. Why has it been important for Thinkful to focus on like job prep and career placement now as an online boot camp that didn't necessarily start, thinking about like we're going to get people placed in jobs once they're finished?
Well,
what's the focus?
So, like I said, the timing is just right.
It's
actually it's been 3 years, not 2 years now. So it's 3 years of just listening to students, assessing their goals, and now we feel like we know how to get them there. With the ability to customize the curriculum, a lot of mentors have written curriculum so they can help the students sort of craft these project briefs. It's just the right time for it, I think.
Okay, cool. And I want to hear some from Cynthia about like you were talking a lot about these projects. I want to hear about what she's been able to create also. So you talked about, after you graduated from your Thinkful class, the big sort of transition, into being like a legitimate developer was those 8-9 months of freelance work. Are you setting students up for freelance work like during the class? Is that part of it? Are they doing like real projects for real employers, or what goes into those 6 months in terms of like doing real projects, I guess?
So it's not, so they consider themselves the client basically. So it's not necessarily we're matching them with freelance clients, but they're working on ideas that came out of their own minds. Like they're not following a curriculum at some point, and they're working with their mentor to sort of craft a project based on what they're interested in. And I personally find that's the two best ways for me to learn was to kind of get a job and convince somebody that I know how to do something and then figure out how to do it, or have an idea that I really feel passionate about and want to see that thing exist. And so we're working with the latter there. Just students are taking their hobbies or interests and applying them to these projects.
Very cool. So Cynthia, how far are you now through the career path?
I am most of the way through it. I probably have another month, depending on how much time I have to dedicate to it. So, yeah, I'm getting towards. Yes, I've been in it for a couple months. And
how many hours have you, like, on average, would you say that you're like really getting to devote to the Thinkful class?
Yep. So I do work part-time, and I'm dedicating about 20, sometimes 30 hours a week. But as I get like better and more proficient at writing code, I find myself kind of getting like more excited and spending more and more time on it and starting to actually build things that I really like love. So
yeah. So you're still working on your startup right now as well too, right?
Kind of, yeah. We've definitely, so I shut down kind of what it originally was when I started the course, and now I'm retooling it so that it's something that's completely my own and something that I can like manage and also like use my new skills to like build and continue to learn. So it's kind of going to be like my pet project where, so it's basically going to turn into kind of like this tastemaker gift giving blog. So my core is like trying to help people be better gift givers. And so we had one take on that, and it didn't really take that well. Like people weren't all that into it. And so now I want to just kind of start a new version of that, and thankfully, yeah. So I've integrated one of the Thinkful projects into like that gift giving theme.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so I'm able to like take the curriculum, but then like build it and modify it, and that's what's really great about having the in-person mentorship, because it's like you get this project outline, and it's like, okay, this is how all these other students are doing it, but this is what's really interesting to me. Can we kind of like tool it in this direction and with this theme? So
yeah, I think that's really cool, especially for you who has sort of, your own ideas going into it, you can kind of use the course as like a way to like create things that are actually like applicable to your business, which is really neat. And so like Derek said, the course is, somewhat customizable. Have you found that you've been able to like choose the technologies that you're learning, and what technologies have you chosen to sort of learn over the last few months?
Yes. So yes, absolutely. And anyone who's in tech knows that there are constantly like new things coming out, like new environments, new libraries, everything. And so instead of learning Angular, I'm going to be focusing on Backbone and Ampersand, and then maybe playing a little bit in React. So 100%, yeah, if you're interested in anything. That's what's so great about having this like extended mentorship period, is because you really get to know your mentor and like what their strengths are and what your strengths are, and then really kind of suss out like, oh, this is really interesting, or over 6 months tech changes so much, so it's kind of like, okay, let's focus on this new tech product or whatever.
Yeah. Has Derek been your mentor for this career path course?
Yes.
Okay, cool, awesome. I probably should have put that together. That makes a lot of sense. And so tell us sort of about your like favorite week of Thinkful so far. I know you're not finished with it yet, but can you tell us about like a time when things just like started to click, if there was that time, or like a really cool project that you got to work on that got you like really excited about it?
Yeah, so that's a really hard question, because okay, as cheesy as it sounds, there's like so many parts that I do like. I think the best way to handle that is like, as I learn new things. So probably I was building my gift giving quiz. It's like a one of those Facebook quizzes. What kind of a gift giver are you? And it was kind of the first time that I was really coding something of my own, and the moment it started to work, I think, was a really big moment. And then this week I've been working on my Gulp build environment, and I just like couldn't get it to work for probably a week and a half, and then just in our last mentor session I finally like got it working. And it's like constantly like you're being challenged and you can't figure something out, and then all of a sudden you get it and it's like, oh my gosh, this is great. And then to just say, like, as I learn more, like my abilities keep growing, which I get super, super excited about. And so like each week I'm like, okay, this is like, now I can do this part for my, my startup. And so I just like am continuously like excited and like pleased with like what I'm learning, and then also the skills I'm building.
Yeah, it's so cool to have that motivation. Can you tell us, so just like logistically, are you going through a curriculum throughout the week and then meeting with Derek 3 times a week in addition to like going through curriculum by yourself? Or are y'all doing most of your learning together? How are you getting all of that content?
Yeah, so there is a Thinkful curriculum that I follow online, and it's broken down into units, which have lessons and then projects and stuff within that. So there is some text that I read about that has tons of links and resources to, like right now I'm learning how to draw on Canvas, and we're building, like a replication of Flappy Birds. And so we're learning that game build environment. So I do have a lot of resources and links and a curriculum within the course. And then as I go through it and get stuck or don't understand something, we have mentor sessions, and then we kind of like, Derek helps, whatever the issue is or whatever I'm inspired by, we kind of, there's no like set topic for the mentor session, but Derek's there to like help me when I need help, which is a lot. So
yeah, absolutely. So Derek, I imagine that there's sort of 2 sides to having like a very flexible curriculum, and Cynthia was saying that she is learning React and Node. What do you do when like, do you feel like you get to learn as well as you sort of are mentoring, or like what do you do when there's someone wants to learn something super new and do you have to learn it also?
So good question. So yes, I definitely am learning as I go. I try to stay a few steps ahead of the student if I can. I try to like talk about like what do you want to learn next kind of thing, so I can prepare. So with Cynthia, she wants to learn ampersand instead of Angular. So one of the mentors on Career Paths is really deep into ampersand, and I'm pretty new at it. I've been messing with it for a couple months, but he's kind of the reason I started looking into it in the first place. So we're sort of switching. We sort of informally calling them mentor swapping. So she's gonna be assigned to that mentor, and I'll probably take on one of his students, or he'll give his student to some other mentor who wants to learn Angular, or who wants to teach Angular. He doesn't really want to teach Angular. So it's, and as you know, there's like a million different JavaScript frameworks out there. So I get to see all of them in action. I get to, I help out the students in Slack, which is like a chat application. Pretty much every single morning I wake up and that's the first thing I do is I go in there and talk to the students about any problems they're having. And I'm definitely being exposed to a lot of stuff that I haven't really done before.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been great on both sides. And I've seen that with other mentors too.
How large is the Thinkful mentor network now? It's
pretty big. So I think total we have about 300 mentors on file. I think at any given moment, 200 of them are active, and maybe there's like 100, 50 to 100 that are on hiatus. So people get busy. It's a part-time thing. So we keep it loose, and they can kind of once one of their students graduates, or once all their students graduate, they could leave for a while, do some other work, come back. But yeah, I think total it's been 300. Cool.
Cynthia, you mentioned the project that you had worked on, Gift Quiz.
Yeah.
Right? I just want to talk a little bit about that and how you sort of worked with Derek on that project. Can you tell us first, I guess, what it does and the technologies that went into building it?
Sure. Yep. So it is it's a JavaScript quiz, and well, let's see. So I built it, the project, the requirements were just to build this quiz and to just learn more about JavaScript. And so I wanted to take it, and most people, have a knowledge-based quiz, do you know the answer to this question? But I'm really intrigued by, how people interact with things, and so I kind of wanted to do it a little bit differently, like what kind of a gift giver are you? And then so it was a little bit more in depth in terms of okay, how does this quiz work? It's not just is there a right or a wrong, it's trying to tell you this personality thing, which I think people find really a little bit more entertaining and something you would be like, oh, take my quiz, even though the results are really silly right now. It's
no, I think it's so much more engaging though to have multiple layers. To that product. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, I started with the HTML and a little bit of the CSS, and then you just start slowly working in the JavaScript and get one little function going and make sure that works, and then you keep building, and then at the final stage of it, it's still so it's all working now, but once I've kind of finished the course, I'll go back through and add in learning a little bit about animations and using some different JavaScript libraries to really put some final touches on it. But yeah, so through each step of building this, anytime we got stuck, this was kind of earlier in my JavaScript days, so I'd get stuck, and then we'd have mentor sessions, and both, we would be, Derek would also, pull up his console and start playing around with things and be oh, you can try this, or
yeah. Did y'all work over Google Hangouts basically?
Yeah, so that's actually something I do want to bring up. So one of the biggest differences I noticed, I mentor in the Intro to Feud and Career Path Feud, and the differences between how the sessions go is very, very, it's drastic. So
oh, really? Oh, okay.
In basic Feud, since you haven't seen your mentor for a week, they're accessible via Slack or email or something, but a lot of students don't take advantage of those things, unfortunately. Most do, but some don't. And so they come to the sessions with a week's worth of questions, and they've been lost for a week, and they might be losing momentum. The Career Path, you meet your student almost every other day, so it's there aren't a lot of questions. It's there's not a lot of stacked up questions. It's what I'm working on right now, I'm having a problem with that particular thing. So what ends up happening is we pair program right in the session, which is pretty rare in the intro to Feud because you just don't have the time. It's 45 minutes, so most of that goes to answering questions and then setting goals for the next week. So with the career paths, it's usually, here's my question. I do a screen share. She does a screen share. We write code together. I point out things that, maybe issues. She catches stuff. It's just really, it's very interactive. And I found that to be the case too when I was working at Mint Digital. I was trying to learn Ruby on Rails forever by myself. And, an hour or two of sitting with a senior Ruby developer, everything just clicked. And, that through a pair programming sort of session. So that is definitely the biggest difference. And they get unstuck as fast as they get stuck. So it's definitely constant progress.
Yeah, it seems like more obviously much more high touch.
Yeah, exactly.
You're able to sort of build that a working relationship. That's really cool. That's awesome.
And that project, the quiz app, is that's a project that every student in Intro to Feud does. It's part of learning the fundamentals of JavaScript. So we have them build a sort of just a multiple choice kind of question. But what Cynthia did is something I see a lot of career path students doing. Since they are spending that much time on something, they're like, oh, what if I could do this? What if I could do that? And they're taking these projects that are just like your intro to these concept kind of projects and making them their own and expanding on them. I have another career path student that I'm working with right now, and just the to-do list app. That's just a simple to-do list, the first major JavaScript app they built. She's going super deep on it and linking it up with all kinds of different APIs and including all kinds of drag and drop functionality that I just don't see in the intro to Feud students. They just don't have the time to work on it like that. So just expanding on all these basic things and making them actual portfolio pieces. It's just something I've been seeing a lot with career path students. Very
cool. That's awesome. So Cynthia, I know that we're not completely through the program yet. But do you feel like you are getting more comfortable as sort of, someone who will kind of emerge as a technical co-founder as opposed to a non-technical co-founder like you were before? Do you feel like you'll be comfortable at the end of the career path course?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I've already this morning I spent my morning getting an SSL certificate for my startup and doing that all myself, and I've been going through all their docs and getting everything set up, and I'm already getting in the startup world everyone's constantly asking for oh, I need a tech person, and they know especially people that I know that are new to the startup world, they know that I'm in it, and so they're constantly asking me if I can build them a website. I get asked that all the time. Can I build, Cynthia, can you build this app for me? Can you do this for me? And so I think, now I can finally say, yes, I can build most of that for you. But as with everything, it takes a couple people and a couple minds and everything to really build a full scalable app. But yeah, I absolutely feel like I'm at a point where I can start saying yes.
Do you think that you will say yes? Do you think that you'll do freelance or contract work when you graduate, or do you want to relaunch the business?
So the business I'll keep as a side pet project kind of, and then in the meantime, I'll probably take on some freelance clients to start making some serious money. So
cool. Derek, will the career path course hook people up with those job opportunities afterwards, in a tangible way? Will you be making connections to either contract opportunities or employers or doing interview prep, things like that?
So that is possible. It depends. Yeah. It depends. So some students don't live in tech cities, unfortunately, and it might be a little tougher for us to find job leads for them, but we will ensure that they're ready to do the interviews and get the jobs. For students like Cynthia, who she lives in Silicon Valley, so it's she shouldn't have any trouble finding work with the skill set she currently has. But especially New York students and San Francisco students, and I think we have some Atlanta contacts and just Austin, just the bigger tech hubs. We do have the ability to find job leads directly for you. each student and prep them for particular jobs.
Yeah.
That has happened.
Cool. How will you be keeping up with like alumni's success? Have you, are there plans for like, I mean, I think that's sort of the biggest upside to all of these programs is the huge alumni network, right?
Definitely. So one of the benefits of being a Thinkful student is once you're a student forever, you have access to our Slack community, which is, I've never seen anything like this as far as like code communities go. Everyone's helping everyone. Students are helping students. Mentors are helping students. Students have helped mentors. I've just seen every variation of that. My hope is that everybody kind of stays on there and just keeps growing and keeps the network together and just keeps talking about that stuff. Otherwise, I follow I LinkedIn all my students and all the people involved, and I do check in with students who have left. So my students so far have been in the basic front end course. I still stay in touch with many of them to make sure that they're still growing, learning, and don't need any help. Or if they do need help, they can always ask me.
So cool. Well, I love that Thinkful is really thinking about career placement, job placement. I think it's a natural step, makes sense, and is really neat. Is there anything that we did not cover, Derek, from your end on logistics, or when does the next course start? Are there start dates, or can people start whenever they want?
So there was a lot of demand for this course. I think it overwhelmed our capabilities a little bit initially. So we did go back to the cohort model. So every Wednesday we try. I mean, if you enrolled within the week, we will try to match you by Wednesday with a mentor.
Okay.
But otherwise, it's open enrollments. And like I said earlier, this course itself is sort of becoming full stack if the student wants it. So we may formalize that and sort of break it out and make like a Ruby on Rails front end, full stack, and Node front end. So there are actually a couple students who are learning Ruby on Rails in this course too. So it's just I've seen every variation. So I'd like to just kind of break all those out and make it known on the landing page that it's up to the student what their goals are and what they want to learn. So
very cool. Sweet. Okay, fantastic. Cynthia, anything that we did not cover from your end as a student, advice that you would have for people who are going to do a career path course in the future, how to be really successful?
No, I think that we covered it. I mean, I'm super excited to be able to build what I want to build. I have ideas all the time. So I'm just excited that I finally have. The only thing I wish I had done was I wish I had done this earlier, because it just takes time, and we've all got a little extra time. So yeah, I'm thrilled.
Very cool. Well, it's really cool to see someone go from non-technical to technical, especially like when you have like entrepreneurial aspirations. It's really cool to see you get those tech skills, and I can't wait to see what you end up doing in a couple months. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining this live Q&A. Derek, Cynthia, we can't thank you enough for being here. We really appreciate it. If you're watching this and you have any additional questions for Derek or about the Thinkful Career Path courses, I will put contact info below this video on the YouTube page. Leave comments, tell us what you liked, what you'd like to see at the next live Q&A, and we will see you next time.
Thanks, Liz.
Thank you.